and very strong language.
I'm Victoria Coren Mitchell. In the news this week, at Labour headquarters, as Keir Starmer has to cancel his latest live election broadcast, CCTV from the basement reveals the cause of the mysterious power cut. On a trip to a Bournemouth allotment, fed-up aides decide not to tell Lib Dem leader Ed Davey that he's just unearthed a live World War II grenade. And in southwest Norfolk, one focus group provides less than reassuring feedback for a candidate hoping for re-election. On Ian's team tonight is a Sky News presenter and political correspondent. So, with the general election campaign in full swing and political stories dominating the headlines, she must be slightly worried that they've encouraged her to be here. Please welcome Sophie Ridge. On Paul's team tonight is a comedian who claims he got down to the last 30 in the selection process to become a spy for MI5. Not sure why he wasn't selected, but telling everyone he'd got down to the last 30 may have had something to do with it. Please welcome Chris McCausland. We begin with the bigger news stories of the week. Paul and Chris, here's yours.
OK, we have a train, Rishi Sunak stepping out of a train with a big smile on his face, looking very happy. That's Michael Gove writing in his own resignation card. There's some soldiers from the 1950s. That must be national conscription coming back as a proposal by the Tories. And Rishi Sunak sitting underneath an exit sign. So that's essentially the pictures they've shown us.
Yeah, Rishi went on a train. He got off that train with a smile.
Yes.
And this is how disingenuous he is. He gets off and goes that the sleeper train was amazing. If he wanted us to all think he was a normal person, he should have got off and said that was the most uncomfortable night's sleep. I had to sleep on a bed that was 18 inches wide, under sheets made by the same company that used to make the toilet paper for schools, and next to a sink that's had more people piss in it than they'd seen people brush their teeth.
Yeah. Vote Tory.
Reassuringly, though, he did actually, I think, get a private helicopter back home after the train journey. So.
Oh, phew, that's good optics exactly. Then, isn't it? I didn't know they did that as a special return.
Who has not been on the campaign trail?
Clement Attlee? Oh, Michael Gove, of course. Michael Gove was there, wasn't he? Because he's not going to stand in this next election.
A record number of MPs say they won't be standing, including nearly 80 Conservatives.
Mm-hmm. This is all the Tory MPs who they were told there's a general election and they're furious because they're obviously going to lose their jobs. So a lot of them said, well, I won't stand then. Mm-hmm. So the Tory party have got to desperately find some people to stand. And if any of you are interested...
We saw Michael Gove. Why did Michael Gove say he's not going to stand?
Fancies a bit of the jungle, doesn't he, I think?
You think so?
I think he's looked at the Conservatives' chances and he's thought, I fancy a bit of kangaroo cock, to be honest.
I think that's very unfair to him.
To the kangaroo?
It's not precisely how he put it in his resignation letter.
No, in the letter he said, I've been in the Cabinet for years, I've stabbed everyone else in the back, and now I'm stabbing myself.
What he actually said was, there comes a moment when you know that it's time to leave.
Yeah, that's when you read the polls.
But I'm not sure that Michael Gove always knows when it's time to leave.
That's That's Michael Gove in the disco. I believe the phrase is throw in some shapes.
Oh, my God.
I think one of them's a rhomboid by the look of him.
Is this the bit where I should be glad I can't see it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Now, that's when he was running the Ministry of Sound.
What flagship policy did the leader of Reform, Richard Tice, announce this week?
Was this something to do with immigration?
In a way, the Reform Party is promising a crackdown on cash-only Turkish barbershops.
At last.
Staying with Reform, here is Sophie Ridge talking about Lee Anderson on Sky News.
Lee Anderson defects to Reform UK. He's one of the last pricks in the whole so-called Tory war.
What was it meant to be?
Bricks, surprisingly.
Have you ever interviewed Jeremy Hunt by any chance?
I think I basically got TV Tourette's because I did think that was another one you might play tonight. I mean, completely honest.
Oh, we will. What was Rishi Sunak's big announcement this week?
National service.
Oh, yes, of course. I mean, nobody really wants that. So I don't know how that's going to be a sort of a vote catcher.
The less likely you are to do it, as in the older you are, the more you love the policy, basically.
Yes.
That's how it tends to go.
It's compulsory, but with no penalty if you don't do it.
Yeah.
And nobody involved in making it happen wants it to happen.
Apart from that, it's going to be great. They need some policies, they think, to appeal to old people.
Yes.
The polls show that old people are joining Reform. National service, in. Pensions, rising forever.
So Turkish barbers next.
Turkish barbers next.
Next year will be 1956.
Yeah. The idea that they said at the beginning of the week, we're very concerned about national security and what we're going to do to protect ourselves against Russia and China is recruit some teenagers.
Who have all spent so much time on Call of Duty that they think if you die, you just reappear somewhere else.
It's weird that they're announcing any ideas at all. They've been in power for 14 years.
Yeah.
My husband said it's like someone's asked Rishi Sunak, what would you do if you were Prime Minister?
Yeah.
He's sort of eagerly answering, forgetting that he actually is.
Yeah.
It's like he's been on some kind of online random policy generator and just...
He announced it so quickly that James Cleverly, the Home Secretary, had to quickly clarify on Radio 4, refusing mandatory national service won't lead to prison.
Cleverly actually said that volunteering will not be compulsory. And then someone else said, it will be compulsory, but it will be volunteering. I mean, it can't be all of those things.
Shall we hear from Rishi Sunak himself addressing young people?
Is he coming on?
Well, we've got some footage.
Oh, footage,
Here he is announcing the policy.
Hi TikTok, sorry to be breaking into your usual politics-free feed, but I'm making a big announcement today and I've been told that a lot of you already have some views on it. So, first thing, no, I'm not sending everyone off to join the army. What I am doing is proposing a bold new model of national service for 18-year-olds. They'll be able to choose to spend 12 months in a full-time military commission or 1 weekend per month volunteering in roles within your local community, like delivering prescriptions and food to elderly people, or in search and rescue.
What, for the people who couldn't get the prescription?
Yes. Sorry, Mrs. Watson, the morphine hasn't turned up this week. I don't know, I've been knocking on their door, they're just not answering.
They're doing search and rescue. The teenagers that turn up one weekend will be charged with finding the teenagers that got lost the previous.
Home Secretary James Cleverly said that the national service policy will help bottle the blitz spirit seen during the pandemic. I think if anyone knows about bottles and spirits in the pandemic, it's the government, isn't it? Steve Baker.
Yes. Good to hear those words again. Steve Baker.
Minister of State at the Northern Ireland office.
Yeah.
He said the national service policy had been sprung on him. What did he do?
He went on holiday.
Yes. Saying, I've chosen to do my campaign work in Greece. Here he is telling Victoria Derbyshire his plans.
What do you want to do if you're not an MP?
Skydiving, motorcycling, fast catamaran sailing.
Now, obviously, there is an election, and so our coverage has to be impartial.
Yeah,
very clearly
balanced.
Balanced and impartial.
Yeah.
Who wants to play a round of Conservative campaign cock-ups?
Yeah!
Fingers on buzzers, team.
Yes.
Here's your first one. What's the cock-up?
We've got some time for some questions. Let's open it up. Who's got some hands up? Right, OK, let's start there and let's go there. Brilliant. Right.
Chris, it's a room where there are some people in high-vis jackets in a circle around the Prime Minister, pretending that they're members of the public.
Yeah.
And the cock-up was they were Tory councillors.
They were supposed to be workers at a biscuit factory in Derbyshire in their high-vis jackets, but in fact 2 of them were Tory councillors, Ben Hall-Evans and Ross Hills. Shall we hear their questions?
Yes, let's hear their questions.
Here we go.
You've talked a lot about the economy, specific to everybody, cost of living crisis.
Yep.
What's been done and what sets you apart for the future to, benefit that, the pound in the pocket?
Yep. Great place to start. All right, good. Right, you had a question. Yeah.
Prime Minister, well, thank you for coming to Aerowash this morning. I imagine you're a pretty busy guy right now. The biggest issue, I think, is going to be immigration over this general election campaign. You've obviously got your Rwanda plan, but is it going to see results and stop the small boats coming?
Yeah, thank you. You're right. It is an important question.
They've got some Tory councillors disguised as workers in a biscuit factory to sort of feign, oh, you're a very busy man, Prime Minister. Thank you, sir.
Won't be so busy in 6 weeks' time, though, will he? He'll be working in the biscuit factory.
Why are they so bad at it?
I genuinely don't know.
You could have, for example, asked genuine workers in a biscuit factory to ask questions and just got the questions in advance so he could prepare something, but they would sound like normal people.
Prime Minister, when Liz Truss had to leave the position of Prime Minister, would you describe her as a jammy dodger?
Fingers on buzzers, please.
Yes.
Your final Conservative campaign cock-up.
This is Rishi Sunak at the Titanic Museum because he loves anything to do with stopping the boats.
Yes.
I can only imagine this is going to inspire his next policy, which is going to be strategically placed icebergs in the English Channel, maybe.
He went to the Titanic Quarter in Belfast,
Yeah.
obviously opening the door for a reporter to ask him, are you captaining a sinking ship going into this election?
Yes.
While David KC on Twitter said, Sunak associating himself with the Titanic, so 2 prime ministers in a row now beaten by an iceberg. Because people love the film. I mean, would we like to be reminded of that scene where the doomed central character is soaked through and desperately clinging to a piece of wood?
Yes.
Yes.
There we are.
I remember being on Downing Street for that moment, and it was apocalyptic, I have to say. We all had our umbrellas. So
you had umbrellas?
Yeah, I know. I mean, someone was on Twitter, they were like, why didn't you offer Rishi Sunak your umbrella? Yeah. Can you imagine just kind of going up and holding it? But
it's like wildlife documentary makers. They don't interfere with the nature that they're filming. You couldn't go and give him an umbrella. That would be disturbing the natural world as we see it.
You have to let him die.
Yeah, I think so.
So that's all the cock-ups? No, it's not really. One more cock-up. Jeremy Hunt was accused of misleading voters by saying taxes had fallen. And I think Sophie Ridge is the person to turn to on the matter of Jeremy Hunt. Here you are discussing him on Sky News.
2 figures who are significant. Jeremy Hunt, because he's a potential leadership candidate.
There's an MP called Barry Nutherpucker. Have you heard of him?
That must be deliberate.
I know this is quite hard to believe, but I didn't actually even realise that I'd done it at the time.
That is difficult to believe.
Yeah, I know.
Say it 3 times fast now.
I'm absolutely not going to do that.
This is the first week of the Conservatives' general election campaign. Conservative Cabinet Minister Michael Gove has announced he'll be stepping down at the election and is rumoured to be desperate to appear on Strictly Come Dancing. Although the move has been strongly refuted by the show's professional dancers, none of whom want to have to shag him.
Have they introduced a new category?
The one demographic in which the Conservatives hold a lead over Labour is among the over 70s. Presumably why Sunak's called a snap election. Can't risk a sudden frost in the autumn.
I bet that's policy, though.
Ian and Sophie, here's yours.
Keir Starmer, reminding people his dad was a tool maker. He's got some tools there. The Lib Dem battle bus driving into the public. Keir Starmer and Angela Rayner, don't jump, you're clear. And there's Jeremy Corbyn's friend. Do you want to start at the end? What's Diane Abbott doing?
Oh, it's a bit of a difficult one, this one, isn't it? It's still a bit unclear. It all kind of started, of course, with this Times story that said that Diane Abbott had been blocked from standing as an MP for the Labour Party. I then got, I think, a message at about 7:30 on Tuesday evening from a Labour source saying that she'd been given the whip back. And then I woke up the next morning to a 6:30 a.m. message from Diane Abbott saying, actually, the Times story is true. I have been blocked from standing as a Labour MP and no one from the Labour Party has contacted me as of now. So I'm unclear.
So one of your sources was Diane Abbott?
Yeah, on the record, yeah.
Did you trust it? Is she going to be the MP for Hackney?
The fact that she has given a speech saying she will fight that seat makes it much harder for the Labour Party now, right, doesn't it?
Once again, it's so incompetently done. The Labour Party have got one go at saying, all right, yes, she is, we want unity, or no, she isn't, we love Diane. Instead, Keir Starmer's quote was, no decision has been taken to bar Diane Abbott. So there is a decision, you haven't taken it.
Yep.
Why are they so bad at it? This is all I'm saying, is one side is sending the guy to stand in the rain and at the Titanic. The other side can't even decide who their MPs are. And these are all people who think they can run the health service. I mean, it's pitiful.
Yeah.
Pitiful.
I think the only conclusion to this is vote Lib Dem. Because they've got a guy who can go on a paddleboard in Lake Windermere and fall off into a whole load of shit.
Shall we have a look at Ed Davey paddleboarding in Lake Windermere?
Yes.
Join this on this Lake
Yeah, I think that might be deliberate.
Yes.
Yeah, he admitted it was, didn't he?
Did he?
Which is an interesting ploy. You kind of probably should keep that to yourself, surely.
Yeah, we'll be regretting it when his E. coli results come through. Let's go back to the Labour Party.
Yes,
Who
let's,
else
for
won't
balance.
be standing? Who won't be standing for the Labour Party?
Jeremy Corbyn.
Jeremy Corbyn. What will he be doing?
He's an independent.
Standing as an independent in Islington North, a seat he's held for over 40 years. And what do the people in his constituency think of him?
They like him.
They love him. They're
Yeah.
very affectionate about it. One local told the Times, if he jumps from the 10th floor of a building, we'll all follow. One local Islington resident is Bobby Gillespie. You'll be a fan of his, Ian.
Bobby, yes.
Primal Scream.
Bobby Gillespie told The Observer he'd be voting for Jeremy Corbyn, and he added, fuck Labour. I'm so sorry. But here's a more eloquent response than a previous political appearance with Andrew Neil and Michael Portillo on the BBC's This Week. Shall we have a look at Bobby Gillespie on that show?
Yeah.
Michael Portillo looks lovely there. What other investigation has been closed this week?
Angela Rayner.
What's happened there?
She hadn't broken any law, and the police are no longer going to pursue it in any shape or form.
And HMRC said the same, so she's cleared.
Keir Starmer said she is vindicated. He added, I never doubted that Angela hadn't done anything wrong. Who wants a quick Keir quiz?
Why don't you meet that bloke later in the pub and you can give it to him?
I'm going to show you an item that relates to Keir Starmer and his campaign, and you tell me how it relates. Fingers on buzzers, teams. Here's your first one. It's a Ming vase.
This is Labour being so safe in their campaign, and the reason that there's loads of don't knows and I don't know what Keir Starmer stands for is because it's like you're carrying a Ming vase across the floor, which is the lead and the majority that he could have, and if it smashes, then it's game over and it all crumbles to dust.
So it's really important not to halfway through go, Diane, would you like to help me carry the vase?
Is it a good policy, though? I mean, the idea, yes, exactly.
Working.
I mean, they are what I think the latest Sky News YouGov poll had them 27 points ahead, so...
Yeah, you can criticise all you like.
I think he should make more of his first name sounding like the car. And he should market himself like that. With extreme performance and reliability combined with low running costs, experience a world of smart convenience with the new all-electric Kia Starmer.
Back to the randomiser. Fingers on buzzers, please.
Yes. OK, this is a number 11 England football shirt. He's looking to put Geoff Hurst in as Chancellor of the Exchequer at 11 Downing Street.
What is it about an England football shirt and Keir Starmer? Will he be wearing one?
Well, I don't know. He may not want to sort of, like, annoy the Scots or the Welsh by doing that.
That's it. He's been told not to wear one during the Euros for fear of upsetting Scottish voters whose team are also in the tournament.
What's he going to wear? A sort of German one or a...
He's going to wait till after the group matches and then it'll be fine. That's not my joke. I have no idea about football. What are the Euros? I don't even know.
Like the Eurovision Song Contest with less music.
Eurovision Song Contest was bleak this year. Did you watch it? It's not what I remember. Everyone was sort of black leather and sort of crawling about doing sex things. I didn't think it was nice.
Are you sure that was the Eurovision Song Contest?
I think you were watching Parliament live.
This is Labour and the Lib Dems' first week of campaigning. According to The Telegraph, Diane Abbott has had a career spanning 5 decades, or as she would call it, 11-3 years. There's a feeling that Diane Abbott has been well and truly shafted by the Labour leader, something that hasn't happened since that last weekend in East Berlin with Jeremy Corbyn. I find that quite a sexy idea.
What?
Yes, they went to East Berlin. I bet they had a really angry, sexy time.
A minute ago, you were moaning about the Eurovision Song Contest being too graphically sexy.
And now you've got Diane Abbott against the Berlin Wall. Checkpoint, Charlie. It will be by the time I'm finished.
The Eurovision Song Contest is a family affair.
Yeah.
A weekend in East Berlin with Jeremy Corbyn. Hello.
You revealed more than you intended there, didn't you?
Time for round 2, the Songometer reviews. Fingers on buzzers, teams. What's this story? Paul and Chris?
There's a plant, and it's the only one in existence.
Oh.
So it can't mate. It's a male plant.
If only Victoria had taken it to East Berlin. Imagine that.
Yeah, they need someone to mate with it.
Someone?
They're using AI, Paul.
Oh, are they?
To send out a fleet of AI drones to find a mate for this plant.
Right.
That's exactly right. Let's have a look at this. Here's the tree. It's the only example of the species Encephalatos woodii. And what will they do if they find a female?
They'll put them in the room together and play some Barry White and see what happens.
They'll pollinate her.
Oh, dear.
By imitating the beetles that would do that naturally in the wild.
Oh, not the band. Come on, just stick it in her.
You've just ruined Paul McCartney for me.
That was John Lennon.
Was it? This is the news that scientists are trying to find a mate for the world's loneliest tree. Even at the age of 130, the tree is still hoping to find a female partner. In many ways, the botanical equivalent of Rupert Murdoch.
That's a brilliant joke.
Botanist Dr. Laura Sinti stated, "We have never found a female, but we are hopeful." I hear that a lot on Only Connect.
It's the motto of the Garrick Club.
Fingers on buzzers, teams. What's this?
Well, it's Proud Mary, isn't it?
Very good, but it's the lyrics I'm interested in. What's been rolling?
Oh, is it the cheese thing?
Yes, the annual Gloucester cheese rolling tournament. Let's go over to Cooper's Hill now to relive that excitement.
High-vis jacket in the middle's looking good. He slides on his knees. Oh, there's someone going down the right, which is all sorts of limbs in no particular order. It's the high-vis, I think. Straight through the middle. Takes it. Rolls over the line.
Is he a Tory councillor?
What did the winner of the first men's downhill race, Tom Kopka from Munich, say about his win?
I have watched this for many years in my home, and I come here because I love your English sense of humour and your cheese. And I am very pleased that I am being part of a satirical, topical show where my accent is stereotypical and I don't really talk like this.
That's the best Liverpudlian accent I've heard this evening.
Herr Kopka told reporters, "The unfortunate thing is, I can't really remember anything about it, but I'm buzzing." Well, that sounds like concussion, doesn't it?
He hasn't been the same since a weekend in Berlin with you, though, has he?
Time now for the Missing Words round, which this week features as its guest publication, Earth Movers. They've got a great investigative team, always there with a big scoop.
I found it very boring.
But we start with the age-old practice of what is now a thing of the past?
Studying history. The age-old practice of aerating your soil by using a manual tool is now a thing of the past, as we have now mechanised everything.
I think that's basically correct.
Yeah, of course it is.
The exact wording is...
Yeah.
The age-old practice of physically shifting the backhoe sliding king post along its frame is now a thing of the past.
Luckily, I subscribe to that magazine every week.
Next. For just £10,000, you could get your hands on King Charles's what?
I think I actually know this one. Pottery goat. Is that right? Is that right?
Pottery goat?
Is 55-year-old
brilliant.
pottery goat.
Wow. Oh, how lovely.
Yes, what's the story?
Well, he's a very talented king, obviously. He made a pottery goat and you can buy it, and it's 10 grand.
He made it when he was a student at Cambridge University. It's going up for auction. Should we have a look at the goat?
Yeah.
There you go.
That's all right.
The work is expected to spark an international bidding war. According to the Mirror, it goes under the hammer next month. That'll save everyone bidding. Next. Chris Packham says what inspired him to become a wildlife presenter?
A talking horse. David Attenborough.
No.
Money.
No.
Little ants in his back garden. David Attenborough in his back garden.
A weekend in East Berlin.
The smell of snake farts.
Oh, well, you didn't give us long enough.
That would have inspired me to open a window. I don't know if I can become a wildlife presenter.
Finally, Kenneth Hatcher admits he hasn't experienced what in over 30 years?
Mrs. Hatcher.
Is it the Earth moving?
Yes.
Very good. I'm going to give it to you for that, because it is from Earth Movers. Kenneth Hatcher admits he hasn't experienced a power slide feature on a backhoe in over 30 years. But...
Wow.
In his article in Earth Movers magazine, Kenneth Hatcher adds, "It's no secret that I'm a big fan of the Michelin XMCL tyres." It is quite a big secret. So the final scores are Ian and Sophie have 9, Paul and Chris have 11. Before we go, there's just time for the caption competition.
OK, what we're looking at here is a man in a denim shirt with his arms folded, and there's loads of antelope, heads and necks and parts of body sticking through the wall.
Right. I'm looking for the room with the arses. That's the best you're going to get from a blind man?
Yeah.
On which note, we say thank you to our panellists, Ian Hislop and Sophie Ridge, Paul Merton and Chris McCausland. And I leave you with news that on the campaign trail, one member of the public is desperate not to be photographed with the Labour leader. Road safety campaigners in Rotherham unveil their latest initiative to combat tailgating. And at the Chelsea Flower Show, a gardener accidentally catches one of the guests with his dibber. Good night.
Paul swapping the big stories for the big beefs. Join Mr. Merton and a galaxy of stars in Room 101 now on BBC Sounds. And they just can't seem to escape bother. The Outlaws return this week. Press red to join Stephen Merchant and co. now on iPlayer.
I'm Detective.
the butcher's stove. Each morn he'd rise and dawn's dim glow to carve out life from flesh and bone. His hands were rough, but his heart was soft. With each cut, a dream he oft would scoff. His father's voice, a distant scoff. He wished for fields, for skies aloft. Oh, butcher boy, your fate's entwined in blood and toil. Your dreams confined, the world's a cage and freedom blind. But in your soul a fire shines. His love was lost to the merchant's sail, a girl with eyes 'neath a russet veil. Their whispered vows, a tender tale that vanished quick like morning pale. The butcher's blade meant timber's song, as birds did weep where he belonged. Yet even wood and steel can't wrong the dreams where hearts and souls prolong. Through seasons turn and harvests end, the butcher's heart would never bend. He'd carve the meat with thoughts of men and wonder if his soul could send. Oh, butcher boy, your fate's entwined in blood and toil. Your dreams confined, the world's a cage and freedom blind. Your soul, a fire shines. Oh.
He hasn't experienced what in over 30 years?
Mrs. Hatcher.
Is it the earth moving?
Yes.
Very good. I'm going to give it to you for that, because it is from Earth Movers. Kenneth Hatcher admits he hasn't experienced a power slide feature on a backhoe in over 30 years. But...
Wow.
In his article in Earth Movers magazine, Kenneth Hatcher adds, "It's no secret that I'm a big fan of the Michelin XMCL tyres." It is quite a big secret. So the final scores are Ian and Sophie have 9, Paul and Chris have 11. Before we go, there's just time for the caption competition.
OK, what we're looking at here is a man in a denim shirt with his arms folded, and there's loads of antelope, heads and necks and parts of body sticking through the wall.
Right. I'm looking for the room with the arses. That's the best you're going to get from a blind man?
Yeah.
On which note, we say thank you to our panellists, Ian Hislop and Sophie Ridge, Paul Merton and Chris McCausland. And I leave you with news that on the campaign trail, one member of the public is desperate not to be photographed with the Labour leader. Road safety campaigners in Rotherham unveil their latest initiative to combat tailgating. And at the Chelsea Flower Show, a gardener accidentally catches one of the guests with his dibber. Good night.
Paul's swapping the big stories for the big beefs. Join Mr. Merton and a galaxy of stars in room 101 now on BBC Sounds. And they just can't seem to escape bother. The Outlaws return this week. Press red to join Stephen Merchant and co. now on iPlayer.
I'm detective.